something has to change tonight, tonight, tonight. Ooh, if you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me hear you. Let me hear
let's go,
you.
Bella. Let's go.
Let me.
What up? I spoke with Phil for a couple hours, and now I gotta edit this video and do it in a timely fashion, because the fight is coming up day after tomorrow, and it's a long video. So is that weird for you? Like your face and let me see here.
Old, I don't know. I look like a old fucking.
Is that weird for you? Like your face and image is splattered everywhere. Do you have like what is? Do you have an issue like looking at yourself?
Yeah.
So I'm excited because this is just a. We can go for however long. I just
Okay.
this Saturday. Boom, 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 boom. This Saturday at what is it? Staples or the Fabulous Forum? What's that?
I think it's in California. Staples Center.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
In Los Angeles, we have
Oh,
a heavyweight fight. A heavyweight fight. I don't think a lot of people are aware of. Non-boxing fans, that is. Like these two guys, I've asked my friends. I'm trying to get people to get hyped on this, and they don't know who I'm talking about. Which is, I guess, a step. Which is fuck. Boom, 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 boom. Which is, I guess, a step. Take two. Which I guess that is testament to. Which is, I guess, a step. Take two. Which I guess that is. Which is, I guess that is testament to where boxing is today.
in the United States.
Okay, so why don't we care about heavyweight fighters as much as we used to?
Because television, if you look at HBO, who's dropping boxing? If you look at Showtime, if you look at, Showtime, oh God, Take Two. Speaking of Take Two, I'm going to start again on
Okay,
this
go
one.
ahead.
God, the reason why the United States,
Testament to where boxing is today.
in the United States,
Okay, so why don't we care about heavyweight fighters as much as we used to?
because
Today,
in the United States,
Okay,
in the United States.
Okay, so why don't we care about heavyweight fighters as much as we used to?
The reason why
Mhm.
people don't know heavyweight fighters in the United States anymore is kind of a complicated thing because honestly, I don't think the
Yeah, turn the mic off. I'm not talking.
even Fox or whatever. I mean, even though they've shown some of Deontay Wilder before, Showtime has shown some Deontay Wilder, they have never pushed these guys to their audience. They have never like given these guys big blocks of uh, advertisement and pumping up any of their fights.
Mm-hmm.
And really, they should have, because Deontay Wilder has knockout power.
He said what McCallum has been working on, obviously, is
Even Fox or whatever. I mean, even though they've shown some of Deontay Wilder before, Showtime has shown some Deontay Wilder, they have never these guys to their audience. They have never like given these guys big blocks of uh, and pumping up any of their fights.
Mm-hmm.
And really, they should have, because Deontay Wilder has knockout power. He's and pumping up any He's big, tall, in shape. He's brash and whatnot, and he can fight. He's 40-0, and he's with 39 knockouts. People should know who the guy is. The fault lies slightly with the television networks, but also Deontay Wilder. It can be argued that he has fought, with a couple fighters aside, he has fought some really limited opposition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why TV networks, they're not going to want to put out big money for Deontay Wilder versus some guy he's going to knock out in 30 seconds. They're not going to want to do that.
The audience barely knows Deontay Wilder, let alone these no-name guys he's fighting. I mean,
exactly. No one wants to pay for that, and by most accounts, I guess these people at networks think that no one wants to watch it either, with the thought that the fight's only going to last half a round, you know?
So, also, big picture, we don't have one heavyweight champion, which is...
No, we don't.
It kind of divides the glory of it. We got three, at least, right? But three main ones.
Yeah, three main ones, but I will say this. Tyson Fury is the lineal heavyweight champ of the world. He's the man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. And he did defeat Vladimir Klitschko, and Vlad was hands down the man.
Okay, so quick question. Why should I care about the other belts if this guy's the one true champ?
Well, Tyson Fury, after he won the title, dropped all of his belts. He either gave them up or he was stripped because of his
mental health issues, right?
The mental health issues, yeah, but really it's just inactivity. He you got to fight. So eventually, it looked like he was going to retire, and along came this British phenom, young guy named Anthony.
Don't believe a word you said. Still, I let you in my bed. Yeah. Got too many different sides. Got dishonor in your eyes. Something has to change tonight. Ooh, if you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you.
Let go, come on. Escucha como digo tu nombre. Desde Medellín hasta Londres. Cuando te llamo la mala responde. No pregunta cuándo, solo dónde. Te dejas llevar de lo prohibido, eres adicta. Una adicción que sabes controlar. Y te deja llevar lo más caliente en la pista. Todo lo que tienes demuestra pa' que lo dan. Mordiendo mis labios, verás que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo atrás, estás conmigo. Mordiendo mis labios, verás que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo
Along
atrás,
came
estás conmigo.
this
Say my
British
name,
phenom,
say my name.
young guy named
If you love
Anthony.
me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you.
Beating the man Vladimir Klitschko. He fought Vladimir in a brawl. Both guys went down. The youth, he's 20 years younger than Vladimir, won the fight, as he well should. It's kind of a passing of the torch. So,
Okay, but wait a minute.
and along the way, Anthony Joshua's picked up all the belts Tyson Fury has discarded.
Okay.
So,
But
he's undefeated too, 21-0, 20 knockouts.
that's a much less of a career. But to push back a little bit on that, he beat a very old Klitschko, and he got knocked down in that fight. So
He did.
uh,
He did.
Tyson Fury didn't get touched in his fight with a younger Klitschko. So
Fury, I'm going to tell you what, and this is why. He's light on his feet, and he is so tough
Yeah.
to touch cleanly.
did you hear about his father and his grandfather were fighters too?
Oh man, I know about the whole fighting Furies, man. They're wild, man. His dad went to jail. You know about that? For a street brawl,
Oh, yeah.
for ripping another man's ear off in the street brawl. So,
Oh my God, that's intense.
he's light on his.
My God, that's intense. But that's, I mean, a story, I believe it. I mean, Tyson Fury, he doesn't look like much. I remember hearing the name, and I heard, who's the new heavyweight champ? This young guy from England, Tyson Fury? I thought for sure he was a black guy. It turns out, no, he's this gypsy. Goes by the name Gypsy King. And
Yeah.
talks a mad shit. I mean, he makes Conor McGregor look like an amateur.
And I'll say this: Emmanuel Stewart, rest in peace. Very good friend of mine. Love the man. He surprised me. He called me one day, several years ago, and I will tell you right now, this is when Tyson Fury was 22 years old, because we had been talking about Tyson Fury, and this is while Emmanuel still trained Vladimir Klitschko, and Vlad was number one. So we were talking about the future, and I brought up Fury in a conversation, and back and said, Phil, I got a surprise for you. I got this big 6'9" guy standing next to me named Tyson Fury. He wants to talk to you. I was like, wow. So I sat there and talked with Tyson Fury on the phone for like 30 minutes, man.
Really?
And Emmanuel got back on the phone and told me, he said, Philip, after Vladimir retires, Tyson Fury is going to take the entire division. I said, really? Because at the time, Fury was pudgy. He was, I guess people still would say he had baby fat on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 22, you never know. But I just wasn't all that impressed. He did talk a big game, but he just did not look the part. It's their belief in themselves. He said, and now get this, get ready to hang on to this and freak out on this. He said he has not, this is Emmanuel Stewart, he said that he had not been around another fighter so self-possessed since Muhammad Ali, and he was being dead serious. It's their belief out-talk Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, no,
And that's coming from Emmanuel Stewart.
The guy
That's
is
not my opinion.
He's incredibly entertaining. Every time he opens his mouth, he speaks with passion. He means what he says. He's funny. He doesn't take himself seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
he's unpredictable. The man's a wild dude, but he's also enormous. And you mentioned it. But just to put it into context, look back at Mike Tyson, who was just a terror on the scene. Mike Tyson was what, 5'10"?
He was on his best day. 5'10", 222.
Right, and I stood next to him in line at a movie theater in LA, and I was like, surely this guy from my youth, who I envisioned to be 8 feet tall, is not. I'm not looking down on that guy, am I? And no, it was Tyson, because I saw his face tat. But Tyson.
Did you happen to check out his feet?
What do they got? Does he have webbed toes, or what's his deal?
Close. For a 5'10" guy, get this, he wears a size 17 shoe.
What?
Yeah.
The hell? That
Freakish, man.
That can't be an asset. That has to be a problem.
Yeah, it's like clown feet. I don't know.
That sounds like an urban myth. I'm going to look that up later.
Look it up.
But when he went into the Buster Douglas fight, he was 37-0, I believe. And we're talking about Deontay Wilder, who's 10 years his senior. 33 now. Tyson was 23 at the time, and he's 39-0. So this is an impressive record.
40-0.
Oh, right, 40-0, 39 knockouts.
Yeah, it's 39 knockouts. But, you really do need to look at that. It's
So is
he
Tyson's...
fights boom, 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 boom. But then he gets his title shot and he fights a pretty good, decent Bermane Stiverne.
You've been dressing up the truth. I've been dressing up for you. Then you leave me in this room, this room. Pour a glass and bite my tongue. You say I'm the only one. If it's true, then why you run it? You run it. Ooh, oh. If
Then I gotta say, Artur Spilka is a fair fighter, pretty good. He gets his title shot and he fights a pretty good, decent Bermane Stiverne. Then I gotta say, Artur Spilka is a fair fighter, pretty good. But I gotta say, I'm impressed with how Deontay Wilder handled his fight with Luis Ortiz, because Luis Ortiz, despite being older than he really tells the public he is, he's a damn good fighter, and he comes out of the Cuban system, and those guys can fight.
Right.
And Ortiz had him hurt, had him rocked, and rocked in one round. Wilder sucked it up, lasted to the bell, and came out a couple rounds later and knocked him out. So that's the thing about Deontay too, man. There is something about a professional fighter when they meet another. It's the guy sometimes who has that loose, almost Street Fighter style that Deontay has that just fucks up pros. If they're just not used to it, and punches come from all angles. And a lot of times when you're a pro, you'll stick to a game plan and you'll jab. You'll jab right hand, left hook. Okay, Deontay Wilder, jab, right hand, left hook, overhand right, another left hook, uppercut. He throws like 5 or 6 combinations. And That's where a big, tall guy like Tyson Fury had better be wide awake, because instead of facing the 3-punch combination, he's facing 4 and 5 punches, and he better be ready to defense them.
Well, I mean, Tyson Fury, he says a lot about his boxing skill. I don't think he's worried about Deontay Wilder, the boxer. I mean, he should be. The man's 40-0, but he's worried about his power. And
Correct.
For all the unorthodox stuff that Deontay throws, most of the damage he does, the serious damage, is just that right cross, that straight right. Damage is just that right cross, that straight right, which it feels like when he throws it, it is so powerful that he might as well just throw it at any point in the fight. Damage is just in the fight. He does a little hop step, just leads with a little left jab, and then just comes with this, nuclear missile, just cannon, and just guys crumble under it. I mean, I don't know how Tyson Fury can keep out of range of that or avoid it for 12 rounds. But, I mean, Tyson Fury is very awkward, though. I mean, that's one of his attributes, is that he's not a traditional boxer in that sense. He's very...
That's very true, too. You know what? That is a good touche as far as points go, as far as both guys. And that's okay. This is where we come into experience. And if we look at experience, Tyson Fury's fought big punchers before. Vladimir Klitschko was a big puncher at the end of his career. But what Tyson Fury did to him was absolutely nullify his offensive attack by moving constantly. Vladimir was following.
You've been dressing up the truth. I've been dressing up for you. Then you leave me in this room, this room. Pour a glass and bite my tongue. You say I'm the only one. If it's true, then why you run it? You run it. Ooh, oh. If you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, oh. Why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, oh. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Let me hear you. I got darkness in my head. Don't believe a word you said. Still I let you in my bed, yeah. Got too many different sides. to change tonight, tonight, tonight. If you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior?
Absolutely nullified his offensive.
Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, I am dying to.
Grip his feet into the grip his feet into the canvas and let those punches rip, because Fury'd be here, he'd set, he'd go to punch, and Fury'd be across the room. And it's like, damn.
Well,
and that's the thing about Fury. And when he moves, he will touch you at the same time. Bing, bang, bang, moving in a circle. And he is 6'9", 270, 260, 270. So when those punches hit you, it ain't light. It ain't light love taps. He's gonna hurt you, despite him not being the puncher in the fight. He could still knock out Deontay Wilder.
Oh yeah, no, he's
Make
got
no mistake.
He's got a few knockouts and he's got some power. But it's interesting, the Klitschko fight. How tall is Klitschko? Because he's a big boy.
6'6".
Right, 6'6", which is right around Deontay Wilder, who's 6'7". But you saw what he did with a tall man, and you saw how frustrated Klitschko was not being the taller man when he usually was. So how many guys have Deontay fought who are taller than him?
None. Zero.
Right. So, and Tyson Fury is used to this. And he's a tall guy that knows how to use his height. So many guys in the UFC don't actually do that. Because for being such a big guy, you'd think, okay, well, he's going to have no cardio or he's going to be slow as shit. Now,
nah,
he's pretty quick.
He's got it all. He's got all that shit, and he'll be there for 12 rounds, boxing, calmly boxing.
It sounds funny to say, but for all the power that Wilder has, it doesn't matter unless he can land a punch.
That's correct.
He has to get into that range. And do you think that Tyson Fury can use check hooks or whatever to parry this guy? So if he comes in, and just doesn't respect him, you're saying he could hurt Deontay?
Easily. Yes, absolutely. And since Deontay Wilder started boxing, the rumor in the boxing world has always been his shaky chin. I'm not sure if I completely buy that after watching the Luis Ortiz fight, because Ortiz is a knockout artist. He can knock people out. He has knocked people out. And he had Deontay right where he wanted him, but couldn't get rid of him. So to me, the best thing for a chin is to be in top shape, top shape when to the ring. Top shape when you come into the ring. So that's one thing you got to hand to Deontay. He takes his job seriously, and he accommodations. And that's where his job seriously. And he's in top shape every fight, man. He
Okay.
really is.
I saw footage of him as an amateur where
believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me hear you. Let me hear
Eres
you.
candela.
Let me
Mi
hear
única
you.
nena. She dropping, man. Let go, come on. Escucha como digo tu nombre. Desde Medellín hasta Londres. Cuando te llamo la mala responde. No pregunta cuándo, solo dónde. Te dejas llevar de lo prohibido, eres adicta. Una adicción que sabes controlar. Y te deja llevar lo más caliente en la pista. Todo lo que tienes demuestra pa' que lo dan. Mordiendo mis labios, verás que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo atrás, estás conmigo. Mordiendo mis labios.
he got lit up and knocked out, actually. And,
Yeah.
you know, he's a young guy and he was learning his craft, but so
It happens.
the man is human, and we're talking about heavyweight boxers, so nobody
Right.
should be surprised that anybody gets dropped. And he has been dropped a few times. And rocked and shaken up, but he's also he has the build of a guy. He has the build of a guy that you think, you know, he's very strong, good upper body strength, but he's thin, he's tall, his legs are thin. Like, you could hit tall, his legs are thin. Like, you could hit this dude. He has a neck. You could choke this dude, you know, like, it wasn't like Tyson where you're like, early in Tyson's career, you just thought, this guy's impenetrable. It's like punching a fire hydrant. You know, it's just, there's no way you're going to get to this guy.
You know what's interesting too about that is Tyson, we mentioned, is 5'10", 222 pounds in his heyday. Deontay is once again 6'7", and in his last fight he weighed 218.
Damn. Yeah, that's lean. That is.
It's very lean, man, and he's comfortable with it. You know, he's fine with it. You know, so.
Now, what about this? I got just a theory, a philosophy, if you will.
Bust up.
When it comes to combat sports, if I were a betting man, every time there's a white guy, versus a black guy, if I put my money on the black guy, I'd be super rich right now.
Not in heavyweight boxing.
Since Klitschko's time or before? I mean, because ever since
since it's basically the amateur systems finally produced pros, and that I'm talking about. Okay, as the American amateur system kind of frazzled out, and I'm not even sure why it did. Something to do with the Olympics and ratings and this and that. I don't know. The Olympic boxing is a turnoff to a degree because of the refereeing and the way they score fights.
Yeah, it's good.
I can see for boxing purists tuning out of the Olympics. It happens. And I think that had a lot to do with the U.S. amateur system breaking down when it did in the late 80s, 90s, maybe it was the middle 90s, something like that. But at the same time, across the world in the Ukraine and Russia and Great Britain, the amateur systems were being built up and they were producing top level fighters. And that's when the Klitschko brothers obviously came about. And now, man, looking at the top 10.
Because the only time I can think of a white guy beating a black guy. Drago beating Apollo Creed, and that was fictional.
Yeah, well, you didn't see Vladimir Klitschko, Ray Austin, or Vladimir Klitschko, Calvin Brock.
You know, Tyson Fury is not. Tyson Fury has knocked out a few black guys actually in his day.
Yeah, Kevin Randall Cunningham and whatnot. Yeah.
I just saw that Cunningham fight. What a war. That was
Yeah,
incredible.
and you see that Fury got nailed in fight. He walked right
Overhand.
into a counter shot. And when he first hit the mat, the look on his face was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. But you know, he pulled himself together like that.
Oh, I mean,
and stopped Cunningham. What? 2 rounds later, a round later.
He came back and it was incredible. But he was talking shit earlier. He said, "Look, you're a cruiserweight. I'm a heavyweight. You don't understand. Like it's a different thing."
Hey man, when you weigh that much,
Oh, come to think of it,
You can,
when you look at these guys, the tail of the tape. Hold on, let me bring that up. Inches on this dude. He's got what, 40 pounds on him? You think? You think he's gonna have 40 pounds on fight night?
could easily.
Right. And he's got 3 years on him in terms of youth.
He's a. I hate to use this word because it might get used, but he's a phenom, man, and he has instincts. So, he has the instincts of the greats. I'm not gonna lie. He's got the instincts of a great boxer.
Do you think
And
that
he understands the game. The name of the game isn't knock someone else out; it's outbox them.
well,
He's very good at that, man, and that's I. Having a hard. Run shot with a knockout. Eventually, it's going to happen. It's easy to think like that. I can also completely see Tyson Fury slipping, moving, sticking that jab. That's that Deontay Wilder has no idea about. That's another thing. As far as fighting really unorthodox guys and tricky guys, and top level guys,
Mhm.
you got to go with Fury, man.
So you're actually picking him. That's an official pick.
Okay, here's how this works this year. I'll tell you this. Every fight I pick this year, I go through good years and bad years.
Mhm.
Deontay's going to win by knockout, or Fury, who no one is picking.
Confidence. Both men are just at such a supreme level, and they have every right to be so. You know, Deontay Wilder has basically killed every man. Supreme level, and they have every right to be so. You know, Deontay Wilder has basically killed every man they've put in front of him, and you know both these guys are super rich. They have huge fan bases, but Tyson Fury,
They don't know how to lose.
right? I mean, these guys are undefeated dudes in their prime. Fighting each other for everything. That's why, to me, this is a fascinating thing to witness. As far as whether or not Tyson can win, what do you think about the early rounds? What do you think about round 1 and 2 and sending some messages, like in terms of strategy, technique? How well do these guys pivot mid-fight? Mid-fight in terms of fight IQ and strategy.
That's interesting because normally I would lean heavily towards Tyson Fury, but since the Luis Ortiz fight, where Deontay Wilder once again was like when just like, no, but
Queers walk like that just normally.
like when just like, no, but Deontay getting past that. You can't say he hadn't been through adversity. You can't say he can't adapt mid-fight. Which, or change up his game plan mid-fight. That's a tough thing to do, and that comes with experience. Man, he He fought Vladimir Klitschko
Hmm.
in Vladimir's hometown or Vladimir's turf in Germany, where he was promoted.
Yeah.
He's a Ukrainian fighter, but he was promoted out of Germany his entire career. He went into Germany, took the belts from Vladimir. That was a big pro Klitschko crowd, and he didn't let any of it. He fucking mattered to Tyson Fury.
I'll edit all of that out.
That sucked. God.
So here's my
Still
thing.
early.
I kind of like Tyson Fury. Very skilled, and he's a tough as nails dude. So
Oh yeah.
he's also a boxing historian. Like, he kind of reminded me of you when he talks about it. He knows everything.
Agreed.
Hmm.
I see that. I see that similarity. He's a student of the game, and he can talk the talk, and no matter who you bring up, he knows a little something about him.
Now, some of the things that concern me are, since he won the heavyweight championship, he kind of lost his mind. And went to a very dark period of his life. He put on like 100-something pounds. He was suicidal, severely depressed. He was doing all sorts of drugs. So we're talking about a guy whose body inflated to some ridiculous.
Hey, Devin.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Right.
I can.
Yeah. Fluctuated in weight, and there's a rumor out that you've done some drugs in your time.
A couple.
I'm sure they're over the counter, right?
I just, I got
Aspirin.
heavily into the St. Joseph's aspirin scene.
St. Joseph's wort. Yeah, it was just like Tylenol addiction and all that. But
Yeah.
it comes with the territory of being a metal guy. But the thing is, this cannot have been good for his body. Neither was the 2.5 years off. And so
No.
your body is not this thing that just snaps back and will just be restored to 100%. Like, he's not the 27-year-old anymore. He's the 30-year-old who ballooned up to 500 pounds and did a shit ton of drugs. So I'm just not sure if he's aware of like where he's at right now. Although he says he has a great training camp, like legit his best ever, and he's been training in Big Bear, which is great for your cardio.
Altitude.
Yeah. Do you think cardio is going to come into it? Because typically, if you have a guy who's 6'9", 260, that's like the number one issue is, can this guy go for more than 10 seconds?
Rounds.
It's
And
interesting.
he'll be in that shape. And I will say,
Mhm.
he's young enough, Devin, to
Yeah.
where he can bounce back after. A couple different ways. You could say Tyson Fury did a bunch of damage to his body and big fights and hype and all that stuff. They're draining. They're very his life. Being a young person and just thinking I can drink and I can do drugs and bounce back.
Yeah.
If that's what he was thinking. I don't think he's met that point yet where he's at the age to where that's really going to fight. Of course, it would catch up to him. But for me, I think that the time off Tyson had,
if he loses, he'll retire. And he's talked about, I might fight one more time. So he's sort of 1 foot out of the sport as is. And part of this is a problem of how much money they make. Just legacy and to become the best just because, then there really is no reason. So you're no longer there.
I think Tyson has that, though.
Mm-hmm.
He has that will to, he wants greatness. And he'll, if you listen to him talk,
no longer there.
about how he's never had lost a fight in his life, even in sparring, the street, boxing, whatever. And I'll bring up something. When I talked to Tyson Fury, when he was 22, and I'm telling you, at this particular time, he looked like a bum. He looked fat. He looked.
Yeah.
But somehow he was out with his size and all, he was still beating guys. And each fight he was a little trimmer, a little trimmer, a little trimmer.
Mm-hmm.
But
he doesn't look the part, does he?
Not at all. Well, especially when he was 22.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, named Robert Helenius, who was a big guy himself, and he was undefeated, been through some tough fights with some really, really tough guys. And he goes, I don't know what it is. The guy should be better than me. He's got all this experience. I think I just intimidated him.
Wow.
That's what he told me.
This guy is just cockier than shit right out of the womb.
I mean, but if he kicked Robert Helenius's ass in sparring at 22 with that lack of pro boxing experience,
well,
then there is something more to the man.
Well,
as far as another opponent sizing up next to him and saying, "Can I really beat this guy?" Fury, he's a difficult fucking fight, man.
He says that it's in his DNA. This is why his grandfather was a fighter. We're talking like bare knuckled. These guys were fighting.
Yeah.
Just their whole lives. And so
the Fighting Furies, man.
Yeah, and he looks like a guy that you'd see in a movie, some movie taking place a couple hundred years ago, something out of like Sherlock Holmes. A guy, just everybody's placing their bets and he's got a big ass mustache and he's just punching dudes in the face. I mean, he comes from that old school vibe and just the size of the man, like that. It's hard to recognize on TV maybe because usually you see people and you're
behavior. Ooh, oh. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you.
Usually you see people and you're like, this just looks like a fat guy. Like, I'm not intimidated by this. But a fat, big guy who's athletic and skilled, it's really impressive to see what he's done with what God gave him. Well, there's no God, but
Yeah, point taken.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Now, what do you think about the boxing career potential for Jermon Bushrod? You think he's Bushrod? You think he's Bushrod? You think he's you
he
think
better stay at left tackle and play right. How about them Saints, man?
Well, yeah, the Saints are doing well. Jesus. No, but here's what one way to look at it. Talking about the cardio of Tyson Fury. He's about the same size. He's about the same size as LeBron James. He's a little bit bigger
Yeah.
than LeBron James. And LeBron's got great cardio, but he's also one of the premier athletes in the world. And this guy can go for 12 rounds, 3 minutes. That's longer than a basketball game, right?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Somebody do the math.
I don't know.
No, maybe not, but it's comparable.
Yeah, and then you're also getting hit in the stomach, face, and you know, it's different too.
Right,
It's,
right.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's super.
I mean,
impressive.
saying
Super.
I mean,
impressive.
saying when I say that, I guess I mean it could be seen as a tougher sport. You know,
Correct. No, that's for sure. So, does the winner of this automatically fight Anthony Joshua? Or because they both kind of don't have the most complimentary things to say about Joshua for ducking.
in a perfect world, absolutely, but. And with the fact that he's signed these fighters, like I say, with all of the
honest with his depression, his
missed it. I missed
Okay.
it. What? Sure.
Did you catch catch Tyson Fury on Rogan or just him talking? He likes.
I missed it. I
Okay.
missed it. What happened?
It's really interesting, but he's very open and honest with his depression, his near suicide, and his his drug use and the reason for his drug use. And I know you've gone around and talked and opened up about your personal experience with it all.
Let me hear you. I got darkness in my head. Don't believe a word you said. Still, I let you in my bed. My bed. Yeah. Got too many different sides. Got dishonor in your eyes. Something has to change tonight. 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 If you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you.
About your personal experience with it all. But to me, it strikes me as a really courageous move and a bold move for a guy like that who's, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. He's known for his strength. He's admired for his strength. I was about to kill myself. I feel like shit. I am very sad. To me, that's yet another sign of his strength, that he was willing to talk about some of his flaws. How do you see that?
I agree. He's personable. He's real. He seems authentic.
Yes, that's what it is.
So authentic,
Yeah.
He really is. And when you mix in all the, like you say, the fighting is in his DNA. He comes off. When you mix in all the, like you say, the fighting is in his DNA. He comes off like one of the old school guys. He's born to do this. That's when you mix in do this. That's what makes the legend of Tyson Fury all that more intriguing, man.
Aren't these names the best, though? Like Tyson Fury, named Aren't these names the best, though? Like Tyson Fury, named after Mike Tyson, but just
It's great.
comic book name, and then Wilder. I mean, he fights like a wild man too. I mean,
He does. He really does.
It's a beautiful combination of names. So why is it so tricky to punch, get a clean punch off on Tyson Fury? Is his jab that quick? Does he that quick? Does he snap it out? Is it like, why can't you just breach the distance and pop? Head movement's off the chain. Very good. He's very slick. He rolls with punches. He knows what you're trying to do before you do it. That's what it feels like.
That's experience too.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally experience and studying. Studying boxers in general and keeping an eye on the center of their chest, and you know that's the center of gravity. That the center of the chest is where the guy is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he does very well. On their you know, I've seen this. I've had people come to me and throw punches my entire life. No.
Let me heal. Let me heal. Let me heal.
Let go, come on. Escucha como digo tu nombre, desde Medellín hasta Londres. Cuando te llamo la mala responde. No pregunta cuándo, solo dónde. Te dejas llevar de lo prohibido, eres adicta. Una adicción que sabes controlar. Y te deja llevar lo más caliente en la pista. Todo lo que tienes demuestra pa' que lo dan. Mordiendo mis labios, verás que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo atrás, estás conmigo. Mordiendo mis labios, verás que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo atrás, estás conmigo.
Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me heal. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my
Had people come to me and throw punches my entire life. Nobody has beaten me in this game.
Yeah.
So Wilder, now don't get me wrong, I like Deontay.
He's a nice guy too.
But yeah, he is. But I will say he is. But I will say a lot of his anger or big talk seems just like that. It seems like he's winding himself up.
Yeah,
Seems forced.
he's like bipolar. He has a character. This bomber, and he goes into that mode. And we saw it in the last press conference they had in LA. He was triggered.
You watched. Last conference.
I did. It was intense.
Yeah.
And Fury rips his shirt off, and
Yeah.
you know what? It's really the craziness of his guys, the guys on his team. It's like his brother, his trainer. Those are the ones that
man.
They instigate that shit because
I saw it. Did you see Wilder's crew eyeballing it?
yeah, they're right up in there, and like their energy is so violent, it's insane. Because nobody wants them to break out into a fight at the press conference because everyone loses millions of dollars if that happens.
Oh, that would have been the worst.
And Tyson said that Deontay was trying to egg him on to punch him. He said this was his way of getting out of the fight. Yeah.
That's an interesting look at things. Fury, I'm going to tell you, it looks to me, and maybe you could say this about all of his opponents, but we're talking about Deontay Wilder. It looks like Wilder says Fury has got into his head like he does.
Of course. I mean, the guy's got such a big presence, a big aura. He talks shit. What are you going to say to him? Like, he's heard it all.
Right.
Look at the numbers.
And my thing is, and my thing is this, man. I think he believes.
Mm-hmm.
But if he cannot land the shot, fight.
Yep.
What's he going to do in round 6? Massive. All we're talking about.
Right.
Boxing skill, I'll say Tyson Fury is probably more skilled than most people give him credit for.
Yeah.
He's got a wide. Got Mark Breland in his corner, and Mark Breland was a great amateur and a great pro and an awesome guy. God, you ought to write this down,
okay.
Devin. You need to watch Mark Breland versus Aaron Superman Davis.
Then you leave me in this room. Pour a glass and bite my tongue. You say I'm the only one. If it's true, then why you run it?
Davis. Davis
Really?
from like early 90s or late 80s. It is the most insanely violent brawl.
How big are these guys?
Multiple knockdowns.
Really?
Just both guys busted up. Breland Breland had a broken nose. Aaron Superman Davis had an eye swollen up like this, and I didn't even tell you who won. It was an incredible fight. But anyway, going back to this, Fury is the boxer. The name of the name of the game is boxing. And for all the power in the world, if Deontay Wilder cannot land his shots, it's going to be a long night because, like with Vladimir Klitschko, we could see Fury will do the same thing round after round after round if it's working for him.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
You know, I think he uses to his advantage that people underestimate him. He says he's been the underdog, all his life. He's the underdog for this fight. He was the underdog for the Klitschko fight. There's been several other fights. I think he's been the underdog, and he doesn't look intimidating. So people just assume this guy is a pushover, and he.
How can you assume a 6'9", 270-pound dude is a pushover?
Well, no, because there's a lot of big dudes that could get in there. Like we saw it early in the UFC. A bunch of big, tough guy, bouncer type guys would get in there, and then they get destroyed. They just.
Well, listen. Since the Klitschko brothers, these big guys have been studying, and man, there is a wave of big guys coming out or coming up in the ranks. And one guy's name that you're going to hear a lot about is a complete and utter student of Vitaly Klitschko.
Okay.
Obviously, Vladimir's brother, older brother. This guy's name is Filip Hrgovic.
You've been dressing up the truth. I've been dressing up for you. Then you leave me in this room, this room. Pour a glass and bite my tongue. You say I'm the only one. If it's true, then why you run it? You run it. Ooh, oh. If you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, oh. Why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, oh. Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you.
Is Filip Hrgovic, and he spells Philip with an F, F-I-L-I-P. Hrgovic, it's H-R-G-O-V-I-C.
Okay.
This guy, he's I want to say between 6'6" and 6'8".
Okay.
And this he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and he's only got 6 pro fights. So that's how quickly these guys are acclimating to this the pro game fresh out of the amateurs, but really coming out of the amateurs, they have pro game already in them.
Well, it reminds me of tennis.
Say my name, I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you. Let me hear you. I got darkness in my head. Don't believe a word you said. Still I let you in my bed, yeah. Got too many different sides. Got dishonor in your eyes. Something has to change tonight. Ooh, if you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, say my name, if you love me, let me.
Tennis. We're seeing taller and taller guys play tennis and win at the elite level.
I never thought about that. Tennis. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I love tennis.
Oh no, we got all sorts of guys. What they do is they're super tall, lanky, and they just serves. So the same way Deontay Wilder has this big punch, these guys have the serve that is just dominant, and they're because they're they're 8, 6'6", huge, and
bringing all that force down
all
with
the
it.
torque, the angle. It's an unreturnable serve, which is it's not a complete tennis game. So unless you are quick and can play, and you have a backhand, etc. But it is a dominant thing, to behold. One of the things you were talking about, these guys are known, especially Deontay Wilder. He's known for his knockout power. He's known for his offense, but
that's about it.
Yeah, so it's more subtle. There are some guys who are known for their defense, like Floyd Mayweather.
Oh yeah, and Tyson Fury.
Yes, Tyson Fury. Defense is, it's, you could say it's half of boxing, but it's really kind of super important. Like if you don't have good defense, you're going to get destroyed.
Eventually,
yes. Somebody's going to get to you. And it's harder to spot good defense, especially to the layman, because, what are they actually doing? It's footwork, it's distance, it's head movement, it's, rolling with punches, it's
weight control,
clinching,
balance of weight, and it's so many different things, and that's where Fury is. He's a pro, man. He is an expert, so to say. He is. And he's great at all these little facets of the game where I'm not sure Wilder has once again faced a guy like this, man.
And I think even more.
And Fury has. Fury has fought a big, dangerous Vladimir Klitschko.
Sure.
And taking both guys' style, Klitschko and Wilder, they're different, of course. But you could say Vlad had the smoother, better style. He's so. What makes Deontay think he's going to do something different than Vladimir?
That's a good point.
Now you heard in the that last press conference, Wilder said to Fury, If Vladimir Klitschko would have shown up and threw more punches, that fight would have been different. Well, me, you know, I'm the biggest Vlad Klitschko fan, out there. I gotta say this. In the 11th round of that fight of Fury Klitschko, Vladimir did open up a bit and start throwing punches. But you know what happened? He missed.
Yeah.
He missed.
Yeah.
And he got countered.
Yeah.
And he got nailed with an uppercut that no one even saw coming.
You say my name, I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms, I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you.
Let go, come on. Escucha como digo tu nombre, desde Medellín hasta Londres. Cuando te llamo la mala responde. No pregunta cuándo, solo dónde. Te dejas llevar de lo prohibido, eres adicta. Una adicción que sabes controlar. Y te deja llevar lo más caliente en la pista. Todo lo que tienes demuestra pa' que lo dan. Mordiendo mis labios, esperas que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo atrás, estás conmigo. Mordiendo mis labios, esperas que nadie más está en mi camino. Nada tiene por qué importar, déjalo atrás, estás conmigo.
Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms, I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you.
Yeah, he is, because he's fighting a big man, Jim. He doesn't want to make a mistake. Fury will wear down, slow down a little bit, or make a mistake like that. And he can counter from it. He just hasn't been able to do that yet.
In this case, however, the standards are much lower for Tyson Fury. If he wins a boring fight, very close.
Finally threw his hard right hand across the top. Throws it again and misses. Failed the right hand. And that may inhibit Fury from turning to that southpaw. No, there goes Fury into the southpaw.
Late round knockout may seem prominent for him.
Hard
but
right
not
hand
early.
for Klitschko lands on Fury's face. Should be countering him upstairs.
Of course, like that.
Blood under the left eye of Vladimir Klitschko. A cut on the cheek. Not dissimilar by the scorecards to Tyson Fury. So Fury is building what might become, on Letterman's scorecard, an insurmountable lead. And remember, Harold is unofficial. He's not one of the scoring judges for the fight.
with Klitschko's power.
And Fury, mainly because Vladimir is not punching. I mean, look at that. Fury touches him, Vladimir don't hit him back. And this is the story of the fight. Fury doing all the punching, Vladimir doing next to nothing. It's like he's handing the fight away. Vladimir certainly can hit harder. You know, he can knock out with either hand, and he's not doing it. He's just grabbing Fury. It's a darn shame.
Good jab by Fury.
Yeah, that's the first good jab Klitschko's landed. And give Fury credit. It's not so easy to run in on a 6-foot.
Between Takashi Miura and Francisco Vargas, here's an entirely different kind of fight.
People don't give credit for those, but those are good little punches. Those will wear a big man down.
punches. And I think the same can be said so far about Klitschko. I don't see the sharp punch. How old Klitschko looks. Tyson Fury made a point of that before the fight in the build-up, saying he's an old champion and this is what happens. The young guy comes to replace him. Really good right hand by Klitschko.
That was his best right hand of the fight. And now Fury by Fury as he continues to build up a margin over Klitschko in landed punches counted by Kapilov. Big left hook by Fury. As big left hook counted by Kapilov. Big left hook by Fury. As
okay, I'm a little off balance. Just hang in a second, and Fury was not having it.
That was a tremendous opportunity for Fury, and he took advantage.
So we'll land one good shot in the round and do nothing else. I mean, he gives the round away. Like, for example, in that 9th round, he landed a nice...
The challenger has to take the crown for the champion. If Vladimir wants to stay champion, he's got to fight.
This is an example. Big one-punch fighter.
He is.
And those are the kind of fighters that really cause Vladimir a problem. Not to go decide to go in and gamble. Unless Fury can hurt him, it's going to be pretty dangerous for Fury. It's meaningful as it will if Klitschko lands one.
There, Fury steps forward and lands a left hand for a belt.
And he's doing a great job with his feints, Jim.
There's something if that's not a power punch.
Scheduled 12 in Dusseldorf for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Imagination on Klitschko.
Klitschko is by nature cautious. Roy, he seems even more cautious today.
Yeah, he is.
Even saw coming. And he got his eye cut and busted all up. So, in other words, when Vladimir did open up, he got his ass kicked too.
Yeah, and that made him hesitant for the rest of the fight. So people were saying, why aren't you throwing? It's like, because every time I throw, it gets dodged, and then I get countered. So I'm not going to throw it.
Boom.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see if Wilder, Fury, if the first 4 or 5 rounds go neatly to Tyson Fury with boxing, just clean boxing, it would be very to see how Deontay attempts to turn that around.
Right.
You know,
one of the things I think is kind of lost is we talk about defense and offense, but really most of these fights come down to playing defense while you're on offense. So in other words, you throw a punch, are you ready for the counter? Do you know where it's coming from? Do you know where it's coming from? Can you slip that punch? Because if you're in the pocket, it's not like a guy's just playing defense. You could see that. They've done boxing sort of experiments.
You've been dressing up the truth. I've been dressing up for you. Then you leave me in this room. Pour a glass and bite my tongue. You say I'm the only one. If it's true, then why you run it? Ooh,
Do you want to put on some face masks and go
if
at
you
it
really
full speed?
being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, say my name, if you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms, I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name, if you love me, let me hear you. Let me hear you. I got darkness in my head, don't believe a word you said. Still I let you in my bed, yeah. Got too many different sides, got dishonor in your eyes. Something has to change tonight.
Experiments where a boxer will say, try to hit me. I won't punch back. You just try to hit me. And people can't even hit that guy. But that's
That's what I do with my friends. You know,
Right.
it's like I'll let y'all throw the punch. I'll just stick a left out, just whatever. But let me work on defense.
Yeah, and that's fun and that's good and all, but it's easier to do because you're just focusing on defense. If you have to play defense and then initiate offense yourself, initiate offense yourself. Initiate offense yourself, everybody knows you're most susceptible when you're throwing offense.
That is a brilliant deduction. That is true.
So, does Tyson Fury, does he know those crafty tricks inside the
Yes.
pocket?
One of them.
That-
Yes, he
and-
does.
And these are the subtle things that might give him an advantage. And it only takes a couple exchanges. Well, especially with Deontay. I mean, you make one mistake with him and you're in trouble. But
Yeah.
like you said with Klitschko, this uppercut, he had a left hook in there.
It's also the focus, man. He's not going to lose focus. He's not going to let his temper and emotions get a hold of him like it looks like Wilder does. You know, it really does. If you looked at his second fight with Bermane Stiverne, when he came out to finish the fight was completely right out of
Tonight, tonight. If you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name, say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel.
I know it's not the same, but I feel it anyway. You tell me if that's okay. No, I'll be on my way. Should've known now I feel insane. Am I insane? I've waited way too long, yeah, I know you changed. You have a different face to me. I guess that I was wrong, I'm the one to blame. And that's a shame, you see. Ooh, you're in my head, and I keep on forgetting. Ooh, you're here instead, and it seems never ending. Ooh, I know you changed. You don't feel the same.
back alley anywhere. It wasn't straight boxing shots. It was a bunch of wild, bang, bang, just wild shit.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get away with that with Tyson Fury, man.
Well, he opens himself up like that once he knows the guy's mortally wounded, and it's worked. So to his credit, what he's doing is working. You're suggesting that Tyson Fury is a different breed and a different class.
He is. He is. Hands down.
Well,
and you know, I brought up the Luis Ortiz fight with Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
Not that this matters because styles make fights, but I'd pick Fury over Ortiz as well.
Oh, of course.
I don't think Ortiz would land a punch.
Well, one interesting note is that Deontay Wilder and his whole team are saying that this is the toughest fight of Deontay Wilder's career. And
they're right.
And Tyson Fury doesn't think so. He doesn't think this is his toughest fight. He says, "Oh no, Klitschko was way better."
And you know what? He's right. He's not wrong.
Yeah. And what happened
He's
to
not wrong.
I saw a press conference with Klitschko. It was hysterical for their second fight. And Fury, but the fight got canceled because Fury just checked out and was sort of depressed or whatever.
I think Vladimir checked out too. I think that crushed his spirit. You know,
friends with him, exactly. And so, are you begrudgingly a Tyson Fury fan now, or did you earn?
Eventually, that one guy is going to run up against someone who's better, or run up against someone who's better or better on that night. It's all that stuff happens. So,
you know, looking at that
to
Buster
me,
Douglas,
boxing is made the best man win.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that's fair.
if that's the case, and it's also an age game too. You know, so when Fury beat Vladimir, of course, yes, I got a lot of. Yeah, so now when it's Fury versus anybody else, you know, he's beaten Vladimir. In a way, no one thought he could do by outboxing him.
Yeah.
But just movement and it's that constant movement, man. No one can set on their shots. Fury is there and then he's gone.
Yeah.
That's a gift, man.
And he did it in Hamburg, like on the home court of Klitschko. In fact, at the end of that fight, the announcer said, "Either we have a new heavyweight champion or we're about to witness the biggest robbery in boxing history." That's what he said, because they were anticipating some bullshit. You know, the judges always ruin shit. But, I mean, do you think this Wilder-Fury fight's going the distance?
It could. If Fury executes his game plan to a T, it could easily go 12 rounds. And I just, all the dead time that he had, all the cocaine, the more I've been thinking about it, knowing that you and I were.
That's a gutsy call, and I like it. Now, you're talking about Buster Douglas. Tyson, you know, when you take a step back, forget the aura of those guys or of Tyson. What we saw that night was a larger, taller man, a heavier, taller man beat up a smaller man. You know, he won the fight. So it's not that shocking. So in this fight, if your prediction comes true, Tyson Fury will be the taller, heavier man, younger, taller, and heavier man won a fight. How shocked should you be when that happens?
I don't think you should be shocked. And I think, once again, if it goes down the way I can envision going down, meaning Fury just boxing smoothly, keeping calm, and taking his shots when they're there, and wrapping Deontay up, I think by the end of that 12 rounds, it won't be so surprising because people will have the proof will be right there before their eyes. It happened, you know, this is how it happened. So, and you know, they can all say, I don't know what Wilder's team actually will say if they lose. Hopefully they say the better man won, give me a rematch, you know, but if they come up with excuses, I don't want to hear it.
Okay. Hypothetical situation. Tyson Fury versus Mike Tyson. We're talking about a 30-year-old Mike Tyson, a 30-year-old Tyson Fury. What's that fight?
Fury, easy, distance, movement. Tyson, and let me tell you what, Mike Tyson has always had trouble with bigger guys, always.
But this is a huge.
And now he'd be. Mike Tyson had never fought anyone. I've seen him in against the big guys that you were alluding to earlier, the guys that are bigger, slower, lesser skilled. And Tyson took out like Lou Savarese. He was 6'5", and that fight went half a round or something like that. But after the dawn of the Klitschko, and with more athleticism, I just think that Tyson Fury would do what he wants with Mike Tyson. Yeah, just 6'9" versus 5'10". That right there automatically is like fuck. And Tyson to be giving away 50 pounds.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to ask is how is the heavyweight? We not having more divisions because.
But Roy Jones, you know, he like Evander Holyfield, light man. They were like 208, 210, the giant killers, man. You know, they just had the skill.
I mean, if we start breeding a new type of athlete who is 7 feet tall, some disadvantages to being that size. So in the clinch, like just kind of laying on the guy.
Lay on him, yeah.
Let the guy carry you around.
You're in my head. You say it's all alright, but you're not. Who's up at night? You'll probably say we tried.
Here on his opening fight.
This feels like all a lie. Well, you tend to try and hide. Your hold has got me tight. I've waited way too long. Yeah, I know you changed. You have a different face to me. I guess that I was wrong. I'm the one to blame. And that's a shame, you see. Ooh, you're you and then